By the year 2197, humanity had transformed itself from an earthbound species into a civilization that spanned multiple star systems. The journey from Earth to the stars was neither easy nor quick. It started in the early 21st century with the first steps into space that were driven by curiosity, ambition, and the pressing need to find new resources and habitable worlds. The great space race of the 21st century was initially a competition between nations, but then it evolved into a global effort as Earth's environment began to deteriorate. Climate change, overpopulation, and decreasing natural resources pushed humanity to seek new worlds. The first permanent colonies on the Moon and Mars were already established by 2070. But only after the invention of a way to travel faster than light, which happened in the late 21st century, did humanity truly begin to spread its wings. It was called the warp drive. It allowed ships to travel vast distances in a fraction of the time it would have taken using conventional propulsion methods. This breakthrough was the key to the stars. By the middle of the 22nd century, humanity had already established colonies in faraway star systems and formed the United Federation of Planets, UFP. This coalition was dedicated to exploration, peace, and mutual defense of all humans in the universe. Earth was now just a distant memory to these people. The real spirit and power of humanity were now found in its colonies, where new cultures and societies were created. The United Federation of Planets was located on a massive space station called Unity. Unity was more than just a seat of government. It was a marvel of engineering and a symbol of human ingenuity and cooperation. Thousands of diplomats, scientists, traders, and soldiers from different colonies worked together on Unity, giving a sense of shared purpose and identity. Captain Danielle Cooper was a product of this new era. She was born in New Eden. It was a rich colony with a big population of people and a great culture. Growing up, Danielle was always dreaming of exploring the stars. That's why she decided to join the UFP's Space Navy. She quickly rose through the ranks and became known for her strategic thinking, her determination, and a rare ability to inspire those under her command. Her ship was called Rosarian, and it was one of the finest warships in the fleet. It was equipped with the latest weapons and technology and stood as a symbol of the Federation's commitment to peace through strength. Her crew was a diverse mix of individuals from many colonies, each bringing their own unique skills to the ship. Lieutenant David Pace was her second in command. David was a brilliant tactician that came from a totally different colony than her, but he was her most loyal friend. He was a calm person with a sharp mind. Life in the UFP was not without its challenges. The Federation often came across other intelligent species. Some of them were friendly, others less so. That's why treaties were negotiated while trade routes were established. This occasionally created some conflicts, but nothing had prepared them for the arrival of the Feroxians. The Feroxians were a mysterious and powerful alien race. Little was known about them, other than their vast empire and advanced technology. Their ships were massive, filled with weapons and protected by powerful energy shields. The few encounters humans had with the Feroxians ended in brutal violence, leaving behind destroyed ships and many unanswered questions. That's why the atmosphere on the Rosarian ship became really tense on the day the Feroxians appeared on the border of the Unity space station. People on the ship were running all around it, with crew members monitoring sensors, calibrating weapons, and preparing defenses. Captain Cooper stood at the center, while her eyes were fixed on the view screen displaying the alien ship. "Captain, we've detected an unknown vessel on the outer rim," Lieutenant Pace reported. Danielle lifted her eyebrow while saying, "Identify it." David pulled the data from the computer and examined it. "It's not one of ours, and it's massive," he said. It's definitely aliens, and from the records that we have, this seems to be one of the Phyroxian ships. Danielle's mind was racing. She was trying to come up with a solution for this. The Federation had protocols for first contact, but this was different. The Phyroxians had a really bad reputation, but she had hopes that this would be peaceful. "Prepare a greeting party. Let's find out what they want," she said. As the Rosarian approached the alien vessel, everyone was dead silent. The Phyroxian ship appeared large on the view screen. It was completely black with a smooth exterior, probably made that way so it could camouflage and fit in with the rest of the black and empty space. Then suddenly, an image appeared on the main screen of our ship. It was a leading officer of a Phyroxian ship, and he was trying to communicate with our people. He seemed very intelligent, but he looked more like a wild beast than a thinking creature because he had scales on his skin and eyes like a crocodile. "I am Commander Thran of the Phyroxian Empire," he announced. His voice was deep and resonated through the ship. "We come in peace, but we demand your surrender." Danielle stood tall and met Thran's gaze without fear. "What? We won't surrender to you," she said to him, annoyed, and then asked, "What do you want from us?" "Your resources, your planets, and your technology," Thran replied coldly. "Submit or be destroyed." The words were hanging in the air while our people were trying to process what was just demanded of them. It was a chilling ultimatum. Danielle's thoughts were a mess at that moment. Surrender was not an option, but neither was outright defiance without understanding the full extent of the Phyroxian threat. She knew one thing for certain, though. The fate of the United Federation of Planets is resting on the decisions that will be made in the next couple of days. Captain Danielle and Lieutenant David returned to Unity to report to others about their meeting with Phyroxians and their ultimatum. They were headed for the council chambers, where representatives from all the human colonies gathered. President Laura Sanchez, an experienced and wise leader, presided over the council. Her face was grim as she listened to Danielle's report. "The Phyroxians demand our surrender. They want our resources, our planets, and our technology. We can't give in," Danielle said to the people. The room filled with fear instantly. Ethan, one of the people from the meeting, responded. "We don't have the military strength to take on the Phyroxians. We're outnumbered and outgunned. We need allies. There are other races out there, the Drakari, the Ven, and the Kaltorans. If we can form an alliance, we might stand a chance," Danielle replied. President Sanchez nodded. "You're right. We must seek their help. Captain Cooper, I want you to lead the negotiations." She set out to secure the alliance with the help of Lieutenant David. Their first stop was Drakar Prime, home of the Drakari. General Zorak, their leader, met them in the grand hall of his palace. Danielle bowed respectfully. "General Zorak, we need your help. The Phyroxians threatened us and gave us an ultimatum. Will you help us fight them and join our alliance?" Zorak looked at her and said, "We fight for honor. If you prove yourselves worthy, we will stand with you." Danielle explained everything from the beginning. She talked about humanity's spirit, our commitment to peace, and our willingness to fight for our freedom no matter what. Zorak, moved by her words, agreed. "The Drakari will fight by your side." Next, they traveled to Ven Prime. The Ven were a highly intelligent race. Their society was built on logic and reason. Dr. Lena Voss, the chief scientist, welcomed them into her office. "We face a serious threat from the Phyroxians," Danielle explained. "Your knowledge and technology could help us a lot and turn the tide." Dr. Voss nodded and replied, We have been watching the Phyroxians. They are a danger to us all. We will help you. The Ven offered their cutting-edge weaponry and strategic expertise, magnifying the Alliance's strength. Finally, Danielle and David visited the Kaltorans, a nomadic race with unparalleled skills in space navigation and guerrilla tactics. Captain Kira Talon, the leader of the Kaltoran fleet, greeted them aboard her flagship. "We need your help," Danielle stated plainly. "We need to stop the Phyroxians once and for all." Kira smiled. "The Kaltorans love a good fight. We will join you." With the Drakari, Ven, and Kaltorans on their side, the alliance was formed. The day of the first strike arrived. The Allied fleet, an assembly of human, Drakari, Ven, and Kaltoran ships, gathered at the edge of Phyroxian space. The tension was noticeable as they prepared to launch their surprise attack on a key Phyroxian outpost. Danielle said to David, "This is it. Everything we've worked for leads to this moment." David nodded and agreed with her. The order was given, and the fleet moved into position. "All ships, prepare to engage," Danielle commanded. The Allied fleet launched a coordinated assault, catching the Phyroxians off guard. Drakari warships led the charge, their powerful weapons tearing through the enemy defenses. Ven ships provided strategic support, using their advanced technology to disrupt Phyroxian communications and targeting systems. The Kaltorans, with their skillful flying, struck from unexpected angles and created chaos among the enemy ranks. "Focus fire on their command center," Danielle ordered. The Rosarians' cannons opened fire, sending energy blasts at the Phyroxian command center. Explosions rocked the structure as Allied ships joined in the attack, overwhelming the Phyroxian with sheer firepower. On the ground, Drakari warriors stormed the outpost. General Zorak led the charge of his people. The Ven, using their advanced combat suits, provided critical support, disabling security systems and opening the way for the Drakari. In the skies above, Kira's fleet engaged the Phyroxian reinforcements, preventing them from reaching the outpost. As the battle continued, Danielle coordinated the fleet's movements from her ship. The Phyroxians fought back fiercely, but they were no match for the combined power of the Alliance. One by one, their ships fell and their defenses crumbled. The command center, now heavily damaged, erupted in a massive explosion, and the battle ended. "We did it," David said to Danielle. "This is only the beginning. We have a long fight ahead, but today we showed the Phyroxians that we will fight back." Danielle replied back. As the fleet regrouped and tended to the wounded, they realized that the first strike was a success, but the war was far from over. Months passed, and the Phyroxians assembled their entire army and started a war with the Alliance. The battles were fierce, one after another, and the losses on both sides were piling. The Allied forces were holding their own, but the Phyroxians were relentless. Intelligence reports indicated that the Phyroxians were planning a massive assault on Unity. Losing Unity would mean losing the war. That's why a council meeting was called. President Laura Sanchez addressed the gathered leaders of the Alliance. "We have confirmation that the Phyroxians are preparing to launch an all-out attack on Unity. This is their final push to break us. We must be ready to defend it at all costs." Captain Danielle spoke next. "We've fought hard to get here. We've lost friends, family, and comrades. But we've also gained strength from each other. This is our chance to strike back and turn the tide. We need to gather every ship, every soldier, and every resource we have. We must make our stand at Unity." General Zorak of the Drakari nodded. "The Drakari will fight with honor. We will defend Unity with our lives." Dr. Lena Voss of the Ven added, Our scientists have developed new EMP weapons that can disable Phyroxian technology. We'll deploy them strategically to weaken their assault. Captain Kira Talon of the Kaltorans smiled. Our fleet is ready. We'll hit them where it hurts the most. Preparations for the battle began immediately. The Allied forces gathered around Unity and formed an intimidating lineup of ships and soldiers from every corner of the Alliance. You could see the anxiety on their faces as everyone was waiting for the impending attack. On the Rosarian ship, Danielle was talking to David. "This is it, my friend. This is our final stand." David replied, "We'll make it count, Captain, for unity and for humanity." The Phyroxian fleet appeared on the horizon. The battle began, and both sides clashed in a chaotic shooting of energy blasts and explosions. The Allied forces held their ground, fighting with everything they had. "Hold the line," Danielle commanded. "We can't let them break through." The Phyroxians pushed hard with their troops, relentlessly attacking the Allied forces. General Zorak led the Drakari warriors in a very brave boarding action, storming Phyroxian ships and engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Dr. Voss and her Ven scientists deployed the EMP weapons, causing several Phyroxian ships to go dark with their systems disabled. Captain Talon and the Kaltoran fleet struck with precision, targeting key Phyroxian vessels and disrupting their formations. But despite their best efforts, the Phyroxians continued to advance. Their sheer numbers were threatening to overwhelm the Allied forces. On the Rosarian ship, damage reports were coming in from all sides. "Captain, we've lost the starboard shields," a crew member shouted. Danielle clenched her fists. "Divert power from auxiliary systems. Keep firing." As the Phyroxian flagship pressed down on Unity, it became clear that a drastic measure was needed. Danielle made a split-second decision. "All power to the forward cannons. We're taking them head-on." David looked at her, understanding the gravity of her order. "Aye, Captain." The Rosarian charged forward, with its cannons blasting. The Phyroxian flagship responded with gunfire of its own, but our ship pressed on, determined to make a stand. Both ships came too close to each other and continued fighting. But our ship was weaker. It started giving in to attacks. So Danielle made a desperate decision. She knew that there was no way for them to get out of this alive because they were severely outmatched. That's why Danielle decided to turn the core that was powering the whole ship into a bomb. "My people, my friends, there is no way for us to come out of this alive. That's why I decided to turn the ship's core into a bomb that will destroy everything in its vicinity. We will take them down with us. Are you with me?" Danielle asked her crew. "Yes, Captain. We will follow your orders until the end." Then, with a final shout, Danielle gave the order. "Fire!" The Rosarian core erupted in a massive explosion, killing them and also destroying the main Phyroxian ship as well. The destruction of the Phyroxian flagship sent shockwaves through both fleets. The Allied forces, inspired by the sacrifice of the Rosarian and its crew, doubled their attacks. The Phyroxians, disoriented and leaderless, began to retreat. General Zorak yelled, "For unity! Charge!" The Drakari warriors fought harder, cutting down the remaining Phyroxian defenders. Dr. Voss coordinated the Ven ships, using their EMP weapons to disable more enemy vessels, making them easy targets for the Allied fleet. Captain Talon and her Kaltorans launched a final assault on the retreating Phyroxian ships, ensuring they could not regroup. The battle raged on, but the tide had turned. One by one, the enemy ships were destroyed. The Allied forces had won a decisive victory, but the cost was great. After their victory, the surviving ships and soldiers regrouped around Unity. The damage was severe, but the station still stood. A beautiful ceremony was held to honor the fallen, and President Sanchez spoke to the people. Today, we remember those who gave their lives for our freedom. They fought with courage and determination, and their sacrifice has given us hope. We will rebuild, we will grow stronger, and we will never forget. Years later, a monument was erected on Unity to commemorate the heroes of the war. At its base, an inscription read, "In memory of those who gave their lives for freedom. Their courage and sacrifice will never be forgotten."